Good afternoon. I'm Gloria Nelson with TUG, your host today, and we're so glad to have you join us this afternoon for our TUG Connects 365 programming. Now, as you settle in and get ready for the start of today's webinar, allow me to give a brief introduction for TUG, the usergroup.org, to both our current members and those of you who represent organizations that have not yet joined our online community of info distribution software users. Now, we've all heard that phrase that knowledge is power, and I can say with confidence that after today's program, you'll be waking up tomorrow with a little more of both. TUG webinars, online forums, and member events facilitate the timely exchange of ideas and information to help you work smarter and with more confidence. And no matter how you slice it, that's a powerful combination. If you're currently a member, it also pays to get even more involved. And if you're not, please visit our website to discover why 2,300 heads are just better than one, and to help you be the best at what you do each and every day. Before we get started, allow me to touch base on a couple of housekeeping items. We'd like you to buckle in and plan on at least 45 minutes today, depending upon how many Q&A things pop into our window. And as a result, we'd like to ask you to open your Q&A bubble. We'll be monitoring that for questions that populate, as well as your chat window. You can feel free to drop in comments if you're a current user, if you've looked at something, if you have questions. I'll be monitoring both of those windows. Now, regarding intellectual property permissions, you are invited to take screenshots as well as copy and paste chat into a note card that you might like for future reference. Now, without any further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome Paul Parsons, who is partner with Profit2. And we have John Gunderson, who is Vice President of epaCUBE, and also Doug Cohen, who is Senior Partner Manager for Vertex. And without any further ado, it is my pleasure to turn things over to you. Paul, go ahead and take it away.
Hey, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, everyone, for making some time this afternoon. My name is Paul Parsons. I'm a partner with Profit2. I know we've got a limited amount of time, and I'll try to get to this as quick as possible. A little background about our company. We're based in Kansas City. We work with over 300 wholesalers throughout the United States, Canada, and Latin America on strategic pricing and margin projects. Most of our clients, if the vast majority of 99% are privately held family-owned businesses that have been around for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. And I think they've got two challenges that have kind of created them to reach out to Profit2 to partner with us. A lot of our clients, especially in this dynamic, chaotic pricing environment, they just don't have enough resources or time to be able to analyze their pricing structure as well as they'd like. It seems that the vast majority of our clients have maybe anywhere from 5 to 50,000 items they sell in stock. They've got a deluge of price increases. They've got the sales team who still has got a lot to say about pricing. And when you kind of peel back the onion a little bit, usually for most distributors, only roughly 2 to 3% of their total items makes up their top 60 to 70% of sales. There's a limited number of items that makes up those more price sensitive and more commoditized items. And I think the sales team, the executive team, the pricing managers and executives understand how to price those commoditized items. They're getting feedback on a daily basis. Those are highly visible items, but there are other items that are bought infrequently, maybe once or twice a year, where the spend is maybe $300 or $400 a year. On average, probably closer to $50-$60 a year on per item per customer, and those margins can be all over the place. But it's usually 95 to 96% of the pricing activity. And so what our focus is helping our clients to provide resources down low, where there's not enough time in the day to be able to organize or set up the pricing hierarchy in any ERP system, but we work across every single Infor system. And the bottom line is we provide resources, a way to go about running a business and kind of a tactical approach. I think the pricing, everyone wants to make more on items that are bought at more infrequently. That concept is as old as distribution, and we don't take an academic approach. Really, it's more of a tactical one. So really, our job is to provide resources. And that's one reason why we're hired. The other is cultural. Many of our clients were started by salespeople. I bet half of our clients were started in the 40s or 50s by someone out of their garage or basement, and have burgeoned into multi-location, multi-state businesses. and they've just grown faster and faster, and it's become more and more complex. And they started empowering the sales team to have a lot of pricing control, which served them well and always has through the years. But it's really hard for the sales team to price hundreds of thousands of pricing decisions. And so we provide resources to help make it easier to price. So bottom line, we want to tackle the analytical challenge. That's why we're hired, and also the cultural and behavioral challenge to get the sales team to trust and utilize the system pricing more. The way that our program is set up, it's a non-invasive approach. We're not a software. We've got software tools. They're all offline. We work on a year-long relationship. After the first year, it's a month-to-month engagement. We provide resources, project management, and analysts that's very specific to our clients. We work across dozens of industry segments. Our job is to do the work with the internal pricing team, work with internal operations and sales team, just to help them better set up the investment they've already made in their ERP system, help them better leverage their hierarchy. So we're looking at contract pricing, matrix pricing, customer stratification. We're doing the work. Our clients make the decisions. So really, our clients control the gas and brakes on projects. We provide recommendations. They make decisions. After we go live with pricing, because we actually create a deliverable import file after they've approved it for their system for that level of pricing. We track the results. And then after that, we provide maintenance to help maintain the system. If there's some work involved to get the system set up to where it's right where we want it. We want to make sure we keep that gain month over month, year over year. So that's really kind of our stock and trade, is providing expertise, resources. Our clients make decisions, and then we create records to import in their system, and it's kind of rinse, wash, and repeat. And that's led to a lot of successful relationships through the years. The way that our typical program is structured, it's really a three-phased approach. The first phase is about playing defense and really focusing on making sure we're going to protect any items to any customers that are margin sensitive. Phase two is about playing some offense, and that's where we really focus on getting that gain we're looking for. Phase three, that's about maintenance, ongoing, how this relationship matures together. A lot of our clients are conservative initially as we kind of partner together on projects. Some of our clients start getting more ambitious and getting to areas of their business to analyze that maybe they didn't think of when we first started the engagement. So ultimately, it's a phased approach. It's kind of a glide path to margin gain. We want to make sure it fits the culture. It's very specific. We're not just making some sort of, we don't have a random, or standard matrix for every single distributor we work with. It's very specific. And a lot of times we're working within the existing pricing structure they've got. We're not making wholesale changes, but it's more of a tune-up than an engine overhaul, if you will. But it's got a nice ROI on it. So basically the elements, like I mentioned earlier, phase one, defense. Phase two, really work on the matrix pricing, customer segmentation, that margin bump that we're looking for. And we get very detailed in the customer stratification in that phase two, where we're looking for that margin bump. So a lot of our clients have done some work on customer segmentation. We can help augment that and help deepen it, adding some cost to serve measures. And then once we go live with pricing, it's about tracking the results. And we're really trying to give usable reporting through. We've got a business intelligence tool we've created for our clients where they can have secure logins and really track the project gain, Salesforce compliance rates, volume trends, and make actionable decisions to help them with margins, to protect the business where they need to, and to make more where they can. Our gain first year is typically a 5 to 6 point gain on about 30% of sales. It's a 15-to-1 ROI. And our systems, whenever they're finished, after the first year, have reduced maintenance, more current and credible pricing. If you've got some interest in talking further about a project, you can reach out to me directly, paul@profit2.com. And I can help you kind of guide you through, in a more kind of a little longer demo. I think I'm kind of butting up against 7 minutes now, so I will turn it over to whoever's next.
I have a question for you before we turn things over to John.
Sure.
Says, we have a lot of resources dedicated to price increases. What's the time commitment from our end for a project?
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's a great question. And not the first time it's come up, especially over the last 6 months with the number of increases everyone's kind of absorbing right now. Most of our clients will assign a kind of a key liaison to work with our team. And for the first, I would say that the heavy time commitments the first 2 months on a project. And I tell folks to budget anywhere from 2 to 4 hours per week over that first 2-month period. And that should be sufficient. We've got a lot of automated tools to pull data out of any enforced system and also to import data back in. So we've got a lot of automation to assist with the project. But one thing that I always want to let people know is that, everyone's got nuanced businesses. Just because you're electrical in Texas doesn't mean, that there's things, everyone's got a different mix, right? And so it's very important that we understand the kind of the ethos of that company, how they're set up, and then we kind of partner to make sure we're making specific recommendations that are actionable for their marketplace and for their culture.
Perfect. Well, that's what we have for the time being. So, Paul, I'm going to invite you to step back with us if we have further questions in the future. And in the interim, we're going to turn things again over to John. Thanks for your presentation, Paul.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm John Gunderson. I'm really going to give you a quick overview of everything we do at epaCUBE. Really, we're in price optimization and cost side maintenance for distributors. Quick background on our company. We are built for distributors by distributors. Our entire team that supports our clients comes from B2B distribution. You can see some of the nameplates our team has worked with. Every single person on our team has over 20 years of experience in cost side from the distributor side and on the pricing side. So it's our 20th year of business. We're proud of that. We're 100% distribution. It's the only channel we work in. And we provide pricing optimization and profit improvement services on the cost side, on the rebate side, all the ways that you're forced to create end customer pricing. We work on all those issues with our clients. Our model is we pair you up with a 25-year vet from the distribution business and they serve you. And we've been working in for SX.e probably for 20 years. Many of us on the epaCUBE team are actually from distributors who are using SX.e. So high level, we do customer and product segmentation with our clients. We do the analysis and come back and say, here's what your lowest hanging fruit is. Here's what we're going to do in 3 months. Here's what we're going to do in 6 months. Here's what we recommend. We then take good, smart pricing and data actions towards that. Then we execute a proven pricing program. We measure the results and track ROI. And then, like the shampoo bottle says, when we find success, we rinse and repeat. So one of the things that we do as a team is really high-end segmentation. You'll see this is actually from our model. We built our model. Those of you that are from distribution, you'll say, oh yeah, buying power, profitability, cost to serve. We built a comprehensive model that allows you to do that Texas A&M type pricing model to segment your customers and look for opportunities. One of the things we concentrate on is finding like customers that you have, buying like products to make sure they pay a similar amount. So for example, if you're an HVAC distributor and your largest HVAC is paying this price for this SKU, and that's your average price, we want to make sure your other largest customers are paying a similar price in that category. That's really at a high level what we do. We do intense product segmentation and customer segmentation by the product group, by the customer type, and allow you to identify profit opportunities in seconds to look at. And our team works with you side by side to look at those opportunities and then execute proven pricing programs that you can then load back up into the Infor product. We also provide pricing guidance at the order level. So here you can see an item in, this is actually in SX.e, where you can do a pop-up window where the target price is really the market level for that size and type of customer, what they're paying. what the floor is, what the ceiling is, so you can see your ranges. One thing I'd point out is we don't have many distributors that use all three ranges, but a lot of distributors don't want to show the floor. I wouldn't either, as you may have great pricing compression towards the floor. But this is a good tool to give you at the line item level pricing guidance. So you could see, you know, an item pop up, it's below where you want to be, the target. You could pop that up, give it to your sales team, really give them good guidance. This has been really a successful tool that has helped distributors get paid more for the value they deliver every day. Contract and customer specific pricing. Personally, I think this is the most difficult thing to manage as a distributor, in my experience, leading pricing teams. I think having a tool that allows you to track price records that are out of date, those that are evergreens with no end date, everybody has them, the 999 price records, what's used, what's not used, what's ending soon, allows you to better manage your contract pricing and be more effective. As you can see on this example, I think this happens a great deal in distribution, where that red line is a price increase and it goes against the contract record. You don't address the contract record, you're not on top of it, you fall behind. That 2% price increase becomes immediately 2% compression on your margin. Also, we do a lot of work on the SPA rebate claim back side. For those, many of you have a tremendous amount of claim back and SPA dollars that you're getting from your suppliers that you at the end of every month have to send them a report. And that 2% that they give you back, or that into stock cost adjustment, is oftentimes half your total profitability as a distributor. We build tools and processes to help you manage that, to validate the data and avoid supplier audits, I guess, more often, right? There's nothing worse than having a $30,000 claim with SCORECARD held up because you got 2 lines wrong and you're caught up in an audit process. We work really hard and work with our clients to address this big issue. Everything we do, we track. Our clients this year are getting an 18x ROI on the profit changes we recommend and all the rebate side management we're doing with clients. So everything we do is measured, and every price change that we make alongside you gets measured in our scorecard. Our process is pretty simple. We load in all the data, we analyze it, come back to you with a complete segmentation report, product level opportunity analysis, and full recommendations. Then side by side, we work together to implement those changes and decide together what we're going to load back into the Infor product, and then we measure and repeat the successes we have. So I wanted to keep it short. If you want to reach out to us, my contact information is on the screen. We do free profitability analysis, exchange an NDA, load in your sales data, show you what we're showing, have a live demo call, and we work really hard to be able to execute pricing changes within 4 weeks and get you that 18, 20x ROI on your epaCUBE investment. So that is it for my presentation, Gloria.
Well, thank you, John. We didn't have any questions that populated for you. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to invite Doug to jump on camera, and you can feel free to click yours off at this time until we come back at the conclusion to see if we have any more collective things going on. So Doug, the screen is all yours if you want to go ahead and take it away.
Yes, thank you very much. Just get my screen here. So thank you to you, Gloria, and the TUG community for having me today. Today I'm going to talk briefly about managing the indirect tax complexity and the solutions that we have to help you with that. And by indirect tax, in the US, we're really talking sales taxes, and globally, we're talking value-added taxes. So tax is complicated, and Vertex is here to help. Most people don't realize just in the US alone, there are thousands upon thousands of jurisdictions. And as I believe John or Paul was saying in their presentation, a lot of companies start out small and maybe they're just doing business in one location, one state. But as they grow, as their distributorships grow and they start going to multi-states, the tax requirements that go along with that and keeping track of all the things that are taxable or non-taxable, all the new jurisdictions that are coming into play, trying to do all that manually gets to be a pretty tough job. And so our solutions automate that process. Our solutions are both cloud and on-premise deployment. So depending on what your IT shop prefers, we have lots of solutions that can scale down to a very low level all the way up to the enterprise level. But in the end, we're making sure that you're getting the tax amount right on your invoices, and then correct on your returns, signature ready returns that you have to then submit to the tax jurisdictions. So Vertex, by the numbers, you may not realize it, but every day you're doing business with Vertex. We're a 40-plus-year-old company with over 4,500 clients. You can see there by the numbers, again, just talking about the complexity, we're supporting over 19,000 global taxing jurisdictions. And again, to try to do this on your own is not the easiest. And so having a system in place that SX.e 16 certified means that our processes for getting the tax research correct, updated, and into the monthly update process is critical, especially those companies that are traded publicly and have to have strict controls over their processes. Again, Vertex's leadership, you can see in communications, transportation, technology, wholesale trade. Again, the leading companies are relying on Vertex to get their taxes right. Again, you can see by the numbers here, just the strength of what Vertex brings. And again, that doesn't happen overnight. And again, every month we're proving ourselves over and over again, making sure that our clients are successful. And again, the benefit is not only just being accurate and getting it right on the invoices, avoiding any customer service issues, but again, also avoiding any audits and audit penalties that might come along with not getting the taxes correct. So Vertex is a little bit unique in that we can deploy our solutions in one of three formats or platforms. There's an on-premise platform. There's what we call an on-demand platform, which is really being in the cloud, but a single tenant environment. And then we have the multi-tenant SaaS cloud environment. So this is really dependent on a couple of factors, but mainly what your IT shop is comfortable doing. So again, depending on where your in-force solution or perhaps other solutions, it may not be an in-force solution. It could be if you have an e-commerce arm or some other arm of your business, we can connect to those as well. And again, it's the ability to have a single tax engine across your enterprise. So we, in some cases, will have clients that will hook into Vertex for tax for not only for their ERP, but for their procurement, for their e-commerce. Again, it can be a variety of systems, point of sale. So again, depending on how your clients do business, we can connect to those systems and make sure you're getting the right results, consistent results across all your systems. Just a quick overview of how that works. So the top blue bar represents the financial system. Again, this can be the Infor application. It could be point of sale. It can be e-commerce, procurement. And again, there's a request coming out of that system with pertinent information. I call it the who, what, where, why of a transaction. So you need the date, an invoice amount, a product code or a product class, all the things that are just going to tell us of what is being bought or sold. And then based on that, we go into our rules database and say, well, in this jurisdiction on this product, here's how you calculate the taxes. And then we pass that back through the response back to the host system. Vertex is here to help you. It's not just that we sell to you and then move on to the next client. We're here to make sure that you're successful. We have a whole bunch of avenues from knowledge exchange to training. Next week is our customer conference. This year it's virtual. Large events to help our clients connect with one another, learn from one another. We have an online support. So again, there's lots of good ways to connect with Vertex and make sure that you're getting all the information you need in order to be successful. And then before we go into any Q&A, I'll just leave, if you want to learn more about Vertex and would like to see a demo and learn more about our solutions, there's my information as well as Nick Laurie from my team. We'd be happy to talk with you and talk about next steps. And it looks like there are some questions in the Q&A or in the chat, Gloria.
I sure do. It says, how does Vertex calculate rates?
Right. So Vertex has a team of over 100+ researchers in our department. So they're looking up the rules, the rates, the regulations for every product. So we put that into a database. That database is done by tax jurisdiction. So we know at the state, county, city, and sub-city level how things are done. And so we go from there. So for example, if it's a, let's say the product code is a forklift, and we know that forklifts are non-taxable in the manufacturing process in North Carolina, we can get all that data and know how to apply that to that transaction. So every month things are changing. There are new jurisdictions coming into play. There are tax rate increases, there are decreases. Things become taxable or non-taxable. You get into things like sales tax holidays where, you know, maybe school supplies are not taxed over a certain weekend in the fall. So again, all those rules, what I call the content is the rules, rates, and regulations are packaged into a monthly update. And depending on the deployment, we either update that for you automatically or you go out and grab them and put them into your own environment. But that's a really good question. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'd like to at this time invite both John and Paul to rejoin us online so that we can address any questions that might populate. And again, gentlemen, thanks for being with us today. I do have a question for you, Paul. What's the typical first-year return on a project with Profit 2? Good question.
Yeah, sure. It runs anywhere from any 15 to 1 to 20 to 1. In the same range as probably epaCUBE. Just a different way to kind of attack it.
Good to know. And let's see here. I have another question for you, Doug. Can Vertex calculate the taxes on purchases?
Yes, short answer is yes. Longer answer, so what we were generally talking about was the taxes on order to cash. But as the states and other jurisdictions get more sophisticated in their audits and they find less and less on the order to cash side, they start looking at purchases. So they'll start looking at things that you bought to make sure that those taxes are correct. And we have a consumer's use tax module that can accurately do that for our clients.
And I just had another one pop into chat for me, which is, how does Vertex handle rate changes?
Right. So everything in our system is date driven. So for example, in, let's say, Philadelphia, there's going to be a new tax, either a soda tax or a tax increase that's effective, say, November 1st. We'll know that we'll put that into the rules database. And so if it's, say, soda and it's, you know, November 1st, then they know how to tax it. So everything is date driven. We love dates. If you get something that goes back into a credit, again, we can look at the date of that credit and go from there. So again, everything is done by date driven is the short answer.
Great to know. Also, another question for you, Paul. How long does it typically take for a sales team to adopt your program?
That's a great question, actually. And frankly, that's one of the biggest reasons why I think folks hire us for projects is because of the Salesforce adoption. Because I mean, I think you could have all the analytics in the world, but if no one adopts the project, you've done a lot of work for nothing. And so I think for us, messaging and the way that we integrate is core. And every sales team, I've done hundreds of presentations for sales teams across the country, and each one of them's got a different kind of way the culture and behavior. I think the way that we've done really well is having orientation sessions and being very transparent with how the process works. We want everyone from the executive leadership down to the newest counter person to understand how pricing is derived. We think that level of transparency leads to high adoption rates. So I think the focus is, you don't have to have hours and hours of sales training. It's got to be thoughtful though. If you've got them for an hour, hour and a half right then, it's got to be impactful. It's got to make sense. And it's got to be something that they can understand and that because we could throw all the numbers at the wall, but ultimately if no one buys them or believes them, we could do a lot of work for nothing. And so it's really important that we've got a kind of a central message that we will kind of work with leadership on how to craft that message and be very specific. And then we'll do orientation sessions, training. Some of our clients will involve the team with the pricing project. Some of them won't. It's kind of their call, just again, based on how their culture is. But ultimately, that's a huge part of it. And so it takes about, I would say anywhere from 2 to 3 hours per salesperson just to be available for webinars, orientation sessions, but not a lot of time, but time well spent for sure.
That sounds wonderful. What I'd like to do at this time, gentlemen, as I'm launching into our closing commentary, because we don't have much left on the horizon with regard to questions, but if anything pops up between now and about the time we're ready to end, I will certainly come back and ask you. Can I just politely ask you each to drop your email address or your sales contact for email? Should somebody want to pop in and ask for a demo, more information, they have it readily available at their fingertips. If I can ask you gentlemen to do that. And on that note, I would just like to say thank you to each one of you, Paul, John, and Doug. We really love having you, as well as everyone else who has joined us online today to watch the content. And as with most of our webinars, this presentation will be available on our TUG website. Generally takes 1 to 2 business days. So make sure if you want to share it with one of your colleagues that it will be there and you can grab the link or direct them directly to the front page of our TUG website, where all of our content is under the education tab and marked as previous events. Our next webinar will be this coming Friday, the 22nd at 2 p.m. Eastern time, as our Assembly and Service Network group gathers together to take a closer look at the assembly process and ISM. So watch your inbox for that invitation, as well as it's always posted on the education tab too on our website. Now, for those of you who are not yet TUG members, we invite you to hop on over to www.theusergroup.org to take a look at membership. What's behind our membership wall also is 24 karat gold. And speaking of what's behind the wall, if you're looking to still avail the content that was presented at our TUG Connects digital conference in May, it is available until October 31st. So if you have not yet registered, it's not too late. You can just literally binge on that instead of Netflix. So without any further ado, I want to thank everyone who has joined us today and say, as they say in Hollywood, that's a wrap, folks.